Arceus is one of the most powerful Pokémon characters, although he is not invincible. Some non-legendary monsters may even be able to defeat it. One has to feel sorry for the non-legendary Pokémon that emerges from its spherical chamber to face Arceus, the real god. Despite the fact that it is one of the most formidable Pokémon, certain Pokémon have the ability and makeup to defeat it. Given Arceus' ability to hold elemental plates that vary its moveset type, anyone attempting to dethrone the all-seeing, all-knowing creator of the universes will have a difficult time. But, as everyone knows, a man named David faced off a much larger man named Goliath, so there is hope for these simple mortals. Number 10. Machamp, King of Fighters. Arceus is a normal type Pokémon with a weakness to fighting type Pokémon, yet there are only a few fighting type Pokémon capable of defeating Arceus, and Machamp, as the only pure fighting type Pokémon with a Gigantamax form, has to be the most plausible candidate. That isn't to say that it would be simple. Who's to say the deity won't just pick up a creepy plate and use it to render fighting moves useless? Fortunately for Machamp, it isn't vulnerable to ghost type techniques, thus Arceus' attacks with that plate would be ineffective. Machamp would have to Gigantamax, but even for a Pokémon god, he'd be hard to beat. Number 9. Wailord. Size is everything. When you're a heavy 877.4 pounds like Wailord, can't hurt to have a few extra pounds when facing Arceus. It is resistant to steel, fire, water and ice, which limits Arceus' attack options. It could be a drawn out, attritional affair comparable to a Homer Simpson boxing fight, but Wailord would get the job done in the end. If only because Arceus has more important things to do, like create Pokémon worlds, because Wailord has the greatest basic HP of any water type Pokémon. Number 8. Copperajah, the elephant monster. Copperajah, an elephantine Gen 8 Pokémon, is a steel type Pokémon with the strongest resistance of any type. This means that no matter what plate Arceus uses, whether it's fire, electricity, water, it won't make a huge difference in the fight. Copperajah could hold its own against legendary Pokémon with only 3 weaknesses: fire, ground and water. But if it's Gigantamaxed and uses G-Max Steel Surge move, it could easily match and even destroy Arceus. Number 7. Duraludon, the durable dinosaur. Duraludon is a Pokémon that has the potential to be mistaken for a legendary. It wouldn't be out of place with Dialga, Palkia and Arceus himself, as it appears to be related to the fabled universe keepers. Regardless of appearances, Duraludon is a steel type Pokémon with minimal weaknesses against Arceus' attacks. This Pokémon's name implies that it can withstand anything. Duraludon has a Gigantamax form that will require it to defeat Arceus, despite the fact that it is not known to evolve. Number 6. Lucario, the perfect combination of steel and speed. In a battle with Arceus, Lucario's type, fighting, and steel, meaning it has the best of both worlds. Fighting type moves are twice as powerful against Centaur-like Pokémon as other moves, and Lucario's steeliness would provide it with a good degree of defense against whatever Arceus throws at it. While Lucario's megaform doesn't significantly enhance its size, it does embrace a murderous instinct, unleashing all of its might. Lucario's speed, power, and megaform should be able to defeat Arceus, despite not being the largest or most defensive Pokémon. Number 5. Melmetal, a tough nut to crack. Any Pokémon, god or not, is going to have a hard time dealing with a being made of liquid metal and enormous hex nuts. Melmetal's Gigamax form would give it an advantage over Arceus, but as the type with the most resistances, steel, Melmetal is a massive, powerful and fluid enough to survive Arceus' plate switching strategy. Melmetal, with the strongest punch of any Pokémon and the ability to shoot electric beams from its breadbasket that can melt opponents, has more than enough weapons to get the better of Arceus. Number 4. Steelix, the steel train with Mega Force. Steelix is a beast to begin with, but Mega Steelix, at 34 feet and 5 inches and 1,631.4 pounds, is a force to be reckoned with. Its primary weakness versus Arceus would be its vulnerabilities to fighting, ground, fire and water type attacks, although it also has a lot of defenses. It doesn't matter if you're a god. If you have a physical form that obeys the rules of nature, there's a chance a non-legendary Pokémon will defeat you in battle, and Steelix is no exception. Number 3. Ditto, the tricky transformer. Ditto can take on the form, stats and abilities of any physical object, even Pokémon. This raises the question of whether the conflict would continue indefinitely if Ditto converted into Arceus. Arceus' trademark move, Judgment, and the entire plate-holding quandary would be called into question. But no Pokémon has a better chance of beating Arceus than Arceus himself. What if Ditto evolved into another legendary Pokémon, and that Pokémon evolved into its primal, mega or ultra forms, none of which Arceus possesses? It would legally classify as a non-legendary Pokémon because it would still be Ditto underneath. But would that be acceptable? If that was the case, Ditto would be able to defeat Arceus. Number 2. Unknown, the enigmatic Pokémon. Unknown, the despite their little size and appearance, reside in their own dimension, which Arceus has no control over, and are capable of understanding the thoughts of other beings. It's debatable whether this applies to Arceus, but even if it does, the Unknown would be able to telegraph all of Arceus' moves while progressively chipping away at its HP with their psychic type moves. Also, Arceus creates life with the Unknown. Is there any hatred there? Is it possible that there's a conflict over forced labor? In Pokemon 3, the movie, Spell of the Unknown, Arceus lost control of the Unknown, and if they ever decide to avenge themselves, they would put up a good fight. And at number 1, Hoopa runs rings around its opponents. Hoopa can bend realities and summon and control legendary Pokemon when it transforms into its alternative form, Hoopa Unbound. It could be questionable if it happened in a battle with Arceus, but if the legendaries are being controlled by Hoopa, it's still a legendary versus non-legendary combat. Even without any assistance, Hoopa's dimension-bending ability and signature move Hyperspace Fury, which bypasses Arceus' shielding, placed him on an even footing with Arceus. The Mischief Pokemon, on the other hand, is more than likely to live up to its name, foregoing a fair fight in favor of enlisting the help of some powerful puppets to use as it sees fit in order to win. And those are 10 non-legendary Pokemon that can defeat Arceus. Have I missed any? Which Pokemon do you think will be the best fit to fight Arceus? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for listening, and I will see you next time.